Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. And welcome to today's webinar, What's New in Privacy Management? Next. I am Emily Podasky. I am a product marketing manager here at ServiceNow. And today I am joined with Ram Kaista, our product manager for privacy solutions. Ram, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So hi everyone, I'm Ram Kaista and I'm the product manager for privacy management indeed. And I'm coming from the privacy background. So I have few years of experience in privacy even before joining ServiceNow. Really excited to show you what we have rolled out as part of Yokohama release. And yeah, truly excited.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing it as well. But before we do have some housekeeping items. Next slide. First, you are on mute, but that doesn't mean you can't ask questions. Feel free to use the Q&A feature to ask any questions throughout the session. We will be having a Q&A session at the end of today's presentation, so make sure that you get your questions in and we will cover them off. If we do not cover them during this time, we will make sure to follow up with you offline to make sure that your questions get answered. Second, today's session is being recorded and it will be available on demand on the ServiceNow community forum and on our YouTube channel in case you want to reference back to today's conversations or share it with some of your colleagues. Additionally, we have a short survey at the end of the session and we'd appreciate it if you take some time to complete it. We do use this feedback to improve sessions like this and we really value your input. Next. Today's webinar is just one in a series of release webinars for our Yokohama release happening in next week. So if you missed our previous sessions on Gen AI, Now Assist, operational resilience, business continuity, or smart assessments, don't worry because those recordings are available on the community forum and on our YouTube channel. We are focusing on all things privacy today, including our new assessments experience, which I'm particularly excited about, as well as new ways to categorize personal data and the new automated risk criticality scoring. So I don't want to steal Ram's thunder, so that's just your little teaser for today. Next. For those of you interested in our other risk domains that we serve, we have similar sessions coming up for ESG management, continuous authorization and monitoring, as well as sessions highlighting our updated risk management, compliance, audit, and third-party risk management capabilities. You can register for one or all of these sessions on our GRC community or by using this QR code here on the right. This QR code will take you to our GRC events blog, which will have links to each of the sessions to register. I will also post the registration link in the chat for quick access once today's presentation gets started. Next. And that brings us to our first update. Everything that you see here today is already available on the ServiceNow store. So we are really excited to share all of these great features and enhancements with you. And so without further ado, I will turn it over to Ram to get us started. Ram?
Sure. Yeah, I can get started. So I'll switch off my camera as I'm going to use my second screen in order to demonstrate. So thank you for this. So thanks, Emily, for the introduction. And now we can start on what's new as part of privacy management in Yokohama. So we have rolled out three major enhancements. The first is the new privacy assessment experience, where we have totally revamped how the privacy team and business user interact with the assessments. Now, privacy team does not have to enter any data manually into the processing activity. Everything that needs to be captured from the business user can be done via assessments. The second is the categorization of personal data. Over here, we have classified personal data into categories. What actually it helps in is that now privacy teams can focus on the broader data categories and the business users can focus on the granular personal data, which they are more aware of, helping both the parties. The third one is the automation of the risk assessment. And with the help of this automation, privacy team can know the initial risk of the processing activity upfront. Thereby, they can implement tailored safeguards to mitigate the risk in the processing activities. So these are the three major enhancements that we have rolled out. I will quickly go into each one of them, talk a little bit about that, and then we go into a demo. So in one single demo, I will cover all of these enhancements, and then you will truly realize the power of these new enhancements. So I'll move into the next. Starting with the new assessment experience, as I already told you, this is a new and intuitive assessment experience for business user, but that's not all. Even for the privacy team, we are providing them new and resourceful review interface where they can preview information objects, control objective, risk statements on the go. Before jumping into the next enhancements, talking a bit more, I just wanted to uh, set your attention to these sections. The personal data section, this is something that we have custom built for our privacy use case. And the second section is the questionnaire, which is coming from the smart assessment engine. I'll talk about these sections when we actually go into demo and what these sections truly convey, but just to keep that in mind for now. Going into the second enhancement, the categorization of personal data, this helps privacy team because as you see over here, the biometric data, the data category or the broader data category, which I was referring earlier, this is what it is, right? This biometric data uh, is helpful for privacy teams and the regulator because regulators are not concerned about the granular data, whether or not you are processing fingerprints, iris scan, voice patterns. They are more concerned about the broader data categories. And this is what privacy team and the regulator essentially wants. But the business users would not understand the data categories because for them, they are more used to understanding the granular personal data that whether or not they are processing fingerprints, iris scan, voice pattern, or facial recognition data. With the help of this categorization, we can provide what the privacy team wants, and even we can help business user to select the information objects or the data elements which they are processing regularly. The third is the automation of risk assessment or criticality assessment. As I already told you, with the help of this automation, privacy team will know the initial risk of processing activity upfront. Thereby, they can implement tailored safeguard effectively. But that's not all. We have also clubbed the criticality assessment with the screening assessment now. So it also eliminates the need to conduct a separate criticality assessment, saves time for privacy team. And with the overall score, as I already told, that they can implement some measures, they can prioritize this processing activity and take further actions based on the score that is provided or which they have configured. So these are the enhancements. I talked a bit about these. Don't worry if you are not able to grasp everything right now. I can quickly go into the demo, and in one single demo, I can cover up all of these things and will showcase you how exactly everything comes into a picture. So let's go into the demo now. 1 second. Yeah. So I'm here in the privacy management dashboard area, and I'll start with my flow where I go in or any user goes in and creates any new business application or a business process. So let's say I create a business application, new business application. Namely, we can keep the name as, okay, yeah. HR workflow operation application. I can provide a description, this, and I said that the application owner is Valabon. So what I'm actually doing is I'm creating a new application in ServiceNow CMDB. The moment I click on submit, what happens is we send out a screening assessment to the application owner. What we meant to say by the screening assessment is that the privacy team needs to know whether or not in this new application, any personal data is processed or not. So in order to understand, in order to know that, we send out the assessment automatically, screening assessment automatically to the business user so that they can provide that if they are processing personal data or not. But just to be very clear, as of now, privacy team is not involved. They are not in the picture. Everything is automated. So let me go into the different screen now. And now I am as a Val Aubon, the application owner, and I am at the employee center where the business user can see their task, assessment, whatever has been assigned to them. So let me go into GRC task. And in privacy assessments, the business user will see that there is a screening assessment indeed assigned to them. So on clicking on this assessment, the business user will land into the new landing page of the assessment where the user can see the name of the assessment, the relevant details, the assessment description, the summary, the sections, whatever are assigned to that business user for this particular assessment. So this is a new experience which we were talking about, but this is not all. Let me go in and show you the complete picture. So the moment I hit on start, you will see that this is the new assessment. This is the new assessment experience that is coming from the smart assessment engine. So we ask about questions like provide a brief description of this process or product. I can simply say that this is the application. What are the business unit? Again, HR. What is the department? Again, HR. And I can come to the next section. So the important question or the whole significance of this assessment is to understand whether or not personal data is processed, right? And this is the question that dictates that. But before answering this question, I want to highlight one of the key features that we are providing is the ability for the privacy teams or the legal team to give the section description, to provide the question description, and not only that, even provide detailed guidance. And this detailed guidance is the formatted text. Again, based on all the recommendations, suggestions that we received, this was one of the highlighted feedback that we got, that we want to provide as much as information to business users to help them understand what exactly is needed out of them. So this is everything that we can do now as part of our uh, assessment experience. So let me go in and answer this question. And let's say, yes, indeed, personal data gets processed as part of this application. Now we start asking other relevant question that whose information is being processed. So let's say customer information gets processed. Again, we keep a very keen eye that we are only asking the information object, the granular personal data, right? So let me answer it. Maybe full name, email, date of birth is getting processed, and fingerprint is getting processed. Again, if I go back, you are seeing a glimpse of this experience. Again, not fully, but a glimpse of the data elements or the personal data over here. So let me go back here. And yeah, so let me skip these questions and let me go back to the criticality factors section. This is the main section that we have introduced or we have revamped. And again, this deals with my third enhancement, which I was talking about. And this eventually will lead to the criticality score, which I was referring to. So what exactly is the criticality factors and what exactly does it do? So it enables privacy team to understand the overall picture of the processing. These are the questions such as that whether or not personal data influence key decisions or whether or not you are making impactful decision autonomously. Again, you are doing any large scale monitoring. So in order to understand what exactly this process is all about, whether it's a high risk, whether it's low risk, these factors are something that helps privacy team to understand, to get that picture. So for the sake of this demonstration, let me answer this thing randomly. Let me say this is yes. I can say that this is no. And again, this is all section, everything is customizable. Based on the regulation, based on the requirements, you can set up your own criticality factors. And again, customize the scoring as well. So for the sake of this, let me answer this and next. Yeah. So now come to the key stakeholder section. Let me just give some user, maybe able tutor is accountable and Mary Huang is responsible for this processing. So now all the relevant questions have been answered, mandatory questions have been answered. So from the business user perspective, assessment is done. So let me submit it, and the moment I submit it, the business user comes to the landing page, and now business user can see the assessment which have been submitted. They cannot modify anything because it's in the review. And here's the privacy manager or privacy team comes into picture. So all of the process which I showed you as of now, the privacy team was not even involved. Everything was automated. But now the moment this is submitted, privacy manager will get a notification email that, okay, there is an assessment that has been submitted for them to review. So let me impersonate as Josh Warner, that is the privacy manager, and let me navigate to privacy workspace. So now if I just go back and see what are the assessments that have been assigned, and I quickly can go it from here, I see that this is the assessment which is submitted by the business user, and now it's in the review state. So let me open that up. And now you see this is the new experience for the privacy manager or the privacy team, where they can see what are the information objects, control objectives, risk statements. They can preview all of this information in this dashboard. What I wanted to show you particularly is the information objects. And if you remember in my categorization of personal data enhancement section, I was referring to the data categories. So now fingerprints is something that the business user selected as part of the screening assessment, but we auto classified it as a biometric data. And again, this is something the privacy team had already configured beforehand. But based on this, both the parties, the privacy team also got that, okay, these are the data categories which are processed as part of this processing activity, part of this processing. And business user is also able to select the relevant information objects that they were processing. Next comes is the outcomes, where the again privacy team can preview what are the control objective added, what are the risk statements added over here. So as a privacy manager, now I can request for revision. I can view the assessment. If I think that there is something missing by the business user, I can send it back. But let's say for this demonstration, let me go in and approve this assessment. The moment privacy manager approves this assessment, what we will do is we will auto create a processing activity. Because we know that the personal data is indeed getting processed in this particular application. The moment I go into the processing activity, I realize that the criticality score is auto calculated, and this is coming as high. Now I know, okay, my criticality score is high of this processing activity. Maybe I want to prioritize this processing activity. Maybe I want to do a PIA. Maybe I want to assign it to a person which can help us in mitigating the risk. So all of those actions the privacy manager can take based on the initial assessment of the risk. Now, once this is known, we have not only added those criticality factors in the screening assessment alone, we have also introduced one tab called regulatory details. In the regulatory details, these are the criticality factors. And over here, you see all of those questions except one have been enabled for the privacy team to manage. So in cases where some changes need to be made, maybe after a few years, again, an assessment was conducted and something indeed got changed, privacy team can actually go in, do the changes and rerun the criticality assessment again. The only thing we do not allow to change is the whether or not this is a special category data. because as part of our configurations, we can now define what all the data categories are my sensitive data categories or the special categories. So again, as part of our initial configuration, the admin's configuration, these whether or not any data category is sensitive or not can be defined. So this is done. Now what's next? So the next step over here will be to conduct a full-fledged privacy impact assessment. Because we know that since criticality of this processing is high, we also know the personal data is getting processed. We want to fully understand that what exactly are the implication for this processing. In that case, sending out the full privacy impact assessment makes sense. And as part of our automation, we have already sent out this assessment to Valobon. So before I again go back, impersonate as Valobon, I just wanted to tell you that whatever has been added or whatever has been collected or recorded as part of screening assessment, everything has been mapped over here. The information objects, the key stakeholders, whichever was said, and even the details, whatever has been recorded as part of screening assessment is added to the processing activity. Now, let's see what is the privacy impact assessment and how does it look like. So let me go back over here again. This is the screen where I am impersonated as Valobon, the application owner, and privacy impact assessment gets sent automatically to the application owner. So let me refresh the task page, and now the business user will see the privacy impact assessment for that application. And I'm saying application, but the same process can happen with the business process as well. So let me go in and click on privacy impact assessment. And now this is the landing page for that. One thing which I wanted to emphasize now is the two sections over here. So if you remember, as part of the presentation, if I just quickly go back, I was telling you there are two sections. One is the personal data, the other is the questionnaire section. Personal data is used for collecting certain kind of information, which is not easily collectible as part of smart assessment. And questionnaire is something that is coming from smart assessment. So now, let me go back here. So just wanted to highlight this thing that we have two sections now as part of PIA. But again, this is also configuration. For any assessment, if you want to add any section, you can customize that. Before starting with this assessment, I wanted to highlight two key features here. One is the reassign functionality, reassign feature, where if I think as a Valobon, I am not the right person for this assessment, I can simply select other user and reassign to that particular user after providing comments. One of the important functionality is the discuss functionality, which actually enables the collaboration among the teams. So now over here, if I get stuck in any of these questions, that any assessment, why it is sent to me, or any question I am not able to answer, I can simply add all the relevant stakeholders, the privacy team, and I can simply start the conversation with them. The moment I hit on start discussion, with the capability to integrate this with Teams, the a pop-up will get generated in the Teams channel, and even without coming into the instance, the privacy team or any stakeholder can actually help the user to fill out this assessment. So this is one of the key features that we have retained. This is not new. This is something that was available previously. This is something that we have retained in this release as well. So now, that being said, let me start with the PIA. So again, you can see on the top, there are two sections, personal data and the questionnaire. Inside personal data section, now we are seeing three sections: data element, hierarchy, and legal basis. In the data element sections, you can see the data categories, and then there are the data elements underneath it. again, the business user can select whatever the information object that they are processing. But one thing you could realize over here that there are certain information objects that are already selected. But I'm uh, recording this processing activity for the first time. Sorry, this PIA for the first time. What we have done is in order to reduce the redundancy, we have automatically checked the information objects that were answered or that were selected in the screening assessment. And even if any more information objects, data elements are added to processing activity, we will auto-populate that in the PIA because the business user doesn't have to answer the same question again and again. In order to facilitate that, we have done this enhancement as well. Now, if as a business user, if I think that's all the information objects that I am processing, that's great. If let's say I think that there are a few more, I can select those and click on save. One thing which I wanted to highlight over here is that one thing which we realized that this data get changed or these evolve as the organization mature in their privacy, or if they go into different domains, explore the different domains in the organization. So what we have seen is that as of now, there are 3 information object under marital status. Now comes a 4th one. In a typical configuration, what will happen is that whenever a new information object needs to be added, someone needs to go it and create it somewhere and then have to manually add that information object into each and every template that has been that has that information object, but not here. Over here, once the new information object is created under any of the data category, and that data category is shown into any of the templates, then automatically we will auto-populate that information object. So again, there is absolutely no need for you to go and update each of the templates. So this is the first section. Now I go into the second section. And again, this is also one of the important sections, that is the hierarchy, because it explains you how the data is flowing within the processing activity. Now, as part of this hierarchy, I wanted to highlight that HR workflow operation application. This is the application that you consider in the center. And then now we are defining from where the data is coming and where the data is getting sent to. So if I click on add over here, I can select maybe business application. There are a few business applications that actually send data to this new application. And let me just quickly select few application. Similarly, I can also define that where exactly is data gets sent to from this processing activity. And I can say that maybe these are the some data gets sent to some of the vendors. In that case, I can simply say that, oh, okay, ECME Africa, ECME America, or ECME APAC, these are the vendors that the data gets sent to. So in order to fully understand that where the data is coming from, where the data is sent to, this is the place where we can define all those relationships. And again, this is all configurable. If you don't want, if your privacy program is not mature enough, you do not want to collect this, there's a simple configuration where you can show any section or you can hide these sections as well. Let me go into the legal basis next. Now in the legal basis, as the name suggests, we are seeing the data elements that have been collected in the first section. Again, whatever the data categories they were under, these are the data categories that have been added over here. Now what we are asking from the business user is, what is the lawful basis of processing of this particular data element? And again, this kind of tabular structure was not present earlier in the assessments. So now we can ask that, okay, maybe legal obligation is the lawful basis for processing date of birth. For fingerprint, maybe it's a legitimate interest. Just for the sake of demonstration, I'm giving those examples. But now we can collect the tabular structure data in the tabular structure. I can also answer this question that whether or not you can create, read, update this data. And just for this, let's say we can create, maybe we can read, sorry, we can read as well. Now coming into the most important part, and which actually defines the data lineage or data hierarchy, is the data coming from and data sent to. Now over here, you see for each data element, I can define where the data is coming from. And when I click over here, I can see that I start seeing the applications which I selected as part of my hierarchy tab. So over here, the application, whichever I selected as data coming from, now I can see over here. What it does a very beautiful thing that I can now define that for this particular data element, so this particular data element is actually coming from this particular application. And very similarly, I can also define that this particular maybe fingerprint is a data element that I am sending to, again with the similar logic, to this particular vendor, which I just defined it over here in the hierarchy. So that being said, I can actually fully understand how my data is flowing in my processing activity. Each and every data element, each and every data, I can define where exactly it is coming from, where exactly it is going to, so that I fully comprehend my processes. This is the section that we have custom built. And there are tons of customization here. If you think that there are names, labels needs to be changed, some description needs to be changed, uh, everything can be customized as part of our privacy task configurations. Once this is done, let me quickly go into the questionnaire. And questionnaire is something that is coming from the smart assessment engine. And over here, there are questions, general questions regarding the process and product as a whole. There are questions regarding the data subjects and the data recipients, questions regarding data transfers, again, question related to criticality factors. So maybe in couple of years, you send your PIA again in order to assess the application or a business process. You again would want to fill out the criticality factors if there are any changes that do happens, right? So I'm not going to answer all of these questions. I just wanted to show you that a full questionnaire can be set up, or full questions and answer kind of setup can be done as part of the questionnaire. And collection of data such as data elements in this structure, hierarchy, where we have tabular structure, again, legal basis, again, we have a different sort of table. That is something that can happen in personal data section of the assessment. So this on a whole is completely revolutionized how we actually deal with the data, how we send the assessments, and how we collect the information from the business users. Before I conclude my demo, I just want to quickly show you one enhancement. And for that, maybe I go into home. What I wanted to show you over here is that now we have introduced this new widget, and based on this, I can see, and again, this is the drill down widget where I can see that, okay, how many processing activities process biometric data. And if I click on that, I will see that, okay, these are the processing activity that processes some sensitive data. And one thing which I did not show you initially, and I can show you now, is, and maybe I just end this impersonation and quickly go into the privacy workspace again. I can show you the ability for the admins when they are configuring their categories and the information objects. We can define that what are the data categories that are considered sensitive data categories or the special data categories. And there is a definite checkbox for that. And if you remember, when I was showing you processing activity, there was one question in the criticality factors that was not editable. The response to that comes from this particular checkbox. If business user selects any of the information objects over here, whose data category is biometric data, or any category which is marked as special category or sensitive category, then we will automatically raise up the score in criticality scoring. So that's all the demo I had to show you. And I will go back into the presentation. And now I'm open to the questions.
Great. Thanks, Fram. I'm super excited about this new assessments experience. It's going to make things a lot easier for the end user, and it's going to make information and data capture a lot faster, more accurate, and this new data lineage is just going to make things so much easier from a visibility standpoint. So congratulations on this. I'm super excited to have this in market. So after our Q&A, feel free to connect with us. It sounds like we've got a lot of questions that are specific use cases and future-looking things. So there are many ways for you to contact us. First off, reach out to your account manager, set up some time with Ram and the team, and we can discuss specifically your programs, your needs, and we can design solutions specifically to help you meet your goals. Also, if you want to learn more about our risk management portfolio of products, visit our website, servicenow.com/risk, to learn about all the different areas and domains of risk that we can help you solve for. If you haven't already, make sure that you have our community page link bookmarked. That we have a lot of different great things up here for you. Specifically around getting the most out of your investment. We have a YouTube channel where we have the on-demand versions of this session and others, where you can learn about what all is new in Yokohama for our risk products. And if you like this session and more, you want to see more webinars specifically for our customers, check out our community webinars. We have them up on our blog in the community. Feel free to register and learn more about how you can get the most out of your ServiceNow investments. Next. All right. And as I mentioned, your community, this is your one-stop shop for all things risk. Scan this QR code here or visit servicenow.com/community and bookmark this. You've got all things that you need in one area. You can access the onboarding kits, plans to help with your implementation, domain guidance, and specific demos around all the different features and functionalities that we have within our products. This is a great place for you to learn, so make sure that you've got this bookmarked. Next.
Okay, yeah.
All right. And speaking of events, we have Knowledge 2025. So save the date, May 6th through 8th. It's coming up here in just a couple of months. This is our exclusive in-person user event where you can explore all new innovations and gain practical guidance from thought leaders and customers. You can expand your knowledge with hands-on training, different labs, and interactive sessions. And you can also network with other industry professionals. So registration is filling up. Make sure that you register now so you don't miss out on the event of the year. Next. All right, and then another event to save the date for. In October, we are teaming up with our security folks for a risk and security conference in Santa Clara. This is going to be 3 days of specific deep dives into our risk and security solutions. You'll hear from industry experts and peers and product experts so you can learn how you can transform your risk and security programs with ServiceNow. Registration opened this week and seats are limited, so make sure that you register soon to save your seats. Next. And that wraps up today's session. It looks like we do have a couple of more questions. Last one, can you please help us with updating webinars for risk management and in-person events in India? Yes, make sure that you go to the community. We have a GRC blog, events blog, which lists out all of the different events specifically around risk that we are hosting across the world. So make sure you check that out. We update that weekly. So keep an eye on that and we'll make sure that we get you in there. And a link to the Santa Clara event, yes. We'll make sure that you get a link to that. So thank you everyone for spending part of your day with us. Make sure that you complete the survey. We love to hear how we did today. And we want to use that information to improve sessions like this in the future. So again, reach out to your account manager, schedule some time with Ram and the team. We've got lots of great stuff coming and lots of great stuff happening. So we want to make sure that you capitalize on what we can give you. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you all.